Have you ever felt like your spiritual life keeps getting put on hold, not because it's not important to you, but because you feel like you don't have any time for it? If so, you're not alone. My name is Kiran Young Wimberly. I am a spiritual director and an ordained minister. And I've worked with people for the last 10 years who long for more spiritual depth, but feel that they cannot fit it into their lives. I work with clergy, other spiritual directors, social workers, medical people, teachers, many who give of their lives to others through their daily work and often are spiritual leaders in their own communities, whether in a professional capacity or as a Sunday school teacher or a youth leader or volunteering their time and their services to the church community. But they feel that they don't have any space for their own spiritual enrichment and maybe become very weary and very dry from not having that part of themselves sustained. Three things I've noticed about the spiritual life through working with people like this is that we have some assumptions about our daily prayer life that maybe need to be rethought. So the first one is that prayer needs to be long. So, do you need to have an hour long, focused devotional prayer time every day in order to have a healthy prayer life? I would argue that no, you don't. It can be extremely short and it can be extremely simple, and that we can begin our day with a very short prayer time. Those prayer times can be scattered throughout our days and have a meaningful time to connect in with God in as little as 2 minutes if we are truly strapped for time. A few seconds of turning our attention to God's presence with us in the course of our day can make a world of difference to us and allow us to connect with that power greater than ourselves that can help us through some of our busiest and most complicated and trying times. So, prayer does not need to be long, it can be very short. My recommendation to you is to set a timer on your phone or on another clock somewhere for 2 minutes and to sit for 2 minutes and turn your attention to God's presence with you. And it doesn't need to be a time full of words. You don't need to be reading a prayer book or verbalizing your prayer in any particular way, but just to sit in stillness and be in God's presence for 2 minutes. And that can be all you need to reset yourself and to set yourself up for a day in which you are more aware of God's presence with you throughout the entire day. And it can happen in as little as 2 minutes. It does not need to be sitting for an hour. So, those of you who have very demanding lives, please remember that you do not need to take an hour out of your day in order to have a healthy prayer rhythm. You can start with something very, very short that will fit in. And believe me, nobody will miss you for 2 minutes of your day. You can do this in the bathroom. You can do this in your bedroom. You can do this in your office with the door closed. You can do it in your car. 2 minutes of stillness, turning to God's presence. That is the beginning of a healthy prayer life. The second thing I've learned about prayer life is that it doesn't have to be in isolation. Now, what I mean by that is you don't need to have an undisturbed period of time in order to really focus in and get into that deep prayer that maybe you are familiar with from previous times in your life when you were able to do that. For example, when I was a teenager and into my young adulthood, I used to practice prayer in that way, really deeply reflective, um, focused prayer that was wonderful. And I loved it so much. And it was what I needed at that time. And felt a real sense of loss when I became a mother. I became so busy that I couldn't fit in that hour of uninterrupted prayer time. When my life got busy as a minister in my early days, I wasn't able to find that uninterrupted time. And it felt like I was really feeling very weary because of that. But what I've found is that there are ways to pray that don't require us to be undisturbed and in isolation in order for it to be meaningful prayer. So, one of the things that I've found really important is learning that we can pray while being in movement. So, I talked first about sitting in stillness for 2 minutes, but now I'm going to talk about a way of praying that is through moving our bodies. And it can be simply done through a 5-minute walk around your environment, whether that be just around the rooms of your house, or if it is a stroll around your garden or a stroll around the block. But there is a way to turn our attention to God's presence while we are moving our bodies. And we might be seeing things around us. We might run into somebody on the road. It's not you're going to ignore the world around you. You will respond. But then you turn your attention back to this prayerful walk in which you are noticing the beauty of the world around you. You're taking in your surroundings and you are becoming more attuned to God's presence in your midst. This is also a prayer that can fit into your life. I promise you, you can find 5 minutes to go on a prayerful walk around your environment, wherever that may be. And again, people won't miss you. Even if you are in high demand, whether it be through work or family or any kind of busyness that you are in the midst of, you can take 5 minutes. You can take 5 minutes for a prayerful meditative walk to become aware of God's presence with you in that moment. And then when that's done, you return to your day with a fresh perspective. You feel that that you've tended to your own soul, and that you can then nourish others and you can give to others because you've already given that gift to yourself of connecting in with the source of our joy and our energy and our life that we find through God, our creator. So the third thing I want to point out is that prayer is not an item on your to-do list. It is actually something that gives you life. It is something that gives you well-being and resilience. It is something that replenishes you. So you need to prioritize this for yourself. You need to give this gift to yourself. And even if your life is very full and very demanding, you deserve to tend to your soul in this way. It is crucial for our well being, especially those of us who are spiritually minded. If you are somebody who has in the past had a rich prayer life, but somehow you can't access that right now. If you're somebody who is sustained by that connection with our spiritual life, with God, with something greater than ourselves, that's something that really nourishes you, then this is absolutely crucial for you. This is not a maybe if I can fit it in kind of thing. This is actually for your own well-being so that you can then flourish into the best person that you can be, and you can serve in your family, your community, your work. So it's very important. So as a spiritual director myself, I am giving you permission, and I'm also giving you that nudge that you really need to find little pockets of your day to be able to turn your attention to God with you. Notice how you're doing inside. Place that before God. Notice the world around you. Find a moment for gratefulness. Those are all things you can do in just a few minutes at a time. So, in summary, prayer can be very short. You can set that timer for 2 minutes and feel different when that timer goes off because you have connected in with something greater than yourself and you've turned your attention to the divine in your midst. And the second way is to go for a meditative walk for 5 minutes. No one will miss you. You can get interrupted. You can return to it. It's going to be okay. And then the third thing I've learned that I want to just highlight is that prayer doesn't need to be a thing on your to-do list, but it is actually a priority for your well-being so that you can feel replenished and flourish in your day-to-day life. So there you go. I wanted to highlight those three things so that you can feel replenished and restored in your soul so that you can live well and serve others. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to hear what I have to say in the next video about the prayer life, about the spiritual life, please click subscribe below and you'll receive notice of the next video that is coming up. And you can also find in the description below some links to resources to find restoration in your spiritual life in the days ahead. So I'm glad that you have been here, that you've watched to the end. And My hope and my prayer for you is that you find little moments of the day to connect with God, even when your life feels very full and very demanding, because that is a gift for you and for your soul so that you can flourish and serve others. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.